My name's Rebekah. I'm a senior and a history major here at Vanderbilt, and my case is entitled Memory. So we took a medieval manuscript leaf and 4 modern artist books and combined them under the theme of memory. And I really wanted to use this case to explore how memories are really intangible, but we as people don't like that. And we want to find a way to make our memories tangible so that we'll always be able to hold on to them and that they'll never leave us. So just follow chronological order of the case, and we'll start with the cairn for my daughter, which was made when this artist went to the cabin that her family has owned since the 1950s. Her grandfather actually built it. It's in the mountains in Virginia. And as she was there, she was noticing that the cabin was starting to wear down. This had been over 50 years, and she was noticing that her parents were aging, but it was also the first time her daughter had ever been there. So it was the 4th generation that had been visiting this cabin, and she said she was struck by both the end of things and the never-ending things of nature and generations, but also the aging of the physical and her parents. So she made this cairn. The rocks are from a river near the cabin, and the pages are actually blank, so that her daughter could fill them with whatever the cabin inspired her to fill them with. And the foam board is covered with a map of Virginia around where the cabin is located. So she made this book as a way to commemorate this place. And then moving on to our medieval manuscript leaf, it's from Peter Lombard, who was the first person to take the Bible and also print in scholars' works in with the biblical words. So the Bible print is larger, of course, because it's divinely inspired, and the scholars' print are the small pieces next to it. And he pulled from church doctors like St. Augustine and it was the first time that anyone had ever combined this. So priests, for example, when making their homilies, could open up Peter Lombard's commentary and have the text that was going to be the gospel and also have all these scholars' works next to each other, and it saved them a lot of time in making their writings. And we've commemorated it here as a memory because the way people remember scholars, we don't necessarily remember Peter Lombard as a person for his personality or what he did, but as his work is what we commemorate and hold on to. So the next piece is To Make You See, Suzanne Sawyer, and she created it to commemorate a car bombing in Iraq in a location that was traditionally known for its literary works. And she combines 2 quotes and really emphasizes that we need to remember this attack in a way to prevent ones from the future, which is really interesting because in doing that, she overlooks commemorating the people who lost their lives. So it's an interesting dichotomy of when something terrible like this car bombing happens. Do you commemorate it in looking forward and trying to move on, or do you remember the people who have lost their lives and looking at the past? And then The Hornbook Fisher is our tall bird here in the back. He stands out quite a bit, by Daniel Essig. And he's trying to hold on to the form of the book, which you can see in the center of the bird. He has this tiny little book, and we can't because there's a case here, but the book is actually chained to the bird. And then, of course, the bird is nailed down onto this horn book in an attempt to keep the form of the book in our ever-changing world where more and more digital publishing is happening. And that is what he's trying to hold on to with his memory. And then our last piece here is the Ethiopian prayer book. It's 18th century. It looks a bit older, but it's actually not, which was very interesting to find out. And it's written in a language that's unique to the Ethiopian Christian Church. It's only used there. And the idea behind it is that we have it unfolded here, but during the day you would fold it up and carry it with you at all times. And then at the end of the day, you would unfold it and it would hang next to where you would sleep so that these prayers would always be with you. So these 5 pieces come together to remind us of how we use memory in our lives and try to make them physical things. And I've really enjoyed curating this. I've loved the process of choosing items and researching their backstories. Condensing their backstories to fit into a set word limit is always difficult because you fall in love with these pieces and you want to just talk about them forever. But yeah, I hope to make museums my career, so this has been a really great experience.